goodness me, what is up, YouTube family? This has been a very long time since I've actually filmed a video, so I have had a lot of requests of prep advice and a few things here and there that I handled and maybe didn't handle through my comp prep, which I'm going to talk to you all about today. So I do have the questions written down because, funny fact, prep brain still gets me to this day, to be honest. Sometimes I just have no idea where I'm at. Some days my brain is functioning well, so just a warning to you girls, prep brain is a thing, you're not alone. Alright, first question. Things I wish I knew before competing and things I wish I knew before the actual comp day. Now, to be honest, I've put myself on the spot here. I've just written these down. I haven't actually thought about anything. I actually don't think I was unaware of anything. I wasn't unprepared. And the reason being is my coach, she got me prepared perfectly. She knew what I needed to expect, or she told me what to expect in terms of how I'm going to feel on the day, how to deal with nerves, motivation to get me through those last weeks, and especially peak week, and especially post-comp as well. And you know, you hear so many people talk about post-comp blues and how to deal with your body changing and all that sort of stuff. And to be honest, post-comp blues hit me 10 weeks post-comp, and the reason being, it hit me after I finished my reverse diet. So I reverse dieted properly for 8 weeks and then continued to 10 weeks. Mind you, I still write my meal plans for myself every single week. I was just on the ball for 8 weeks, and now I'm more lenient. I'm onto a strength training phase, or bulking phase as they call it, increasing my calories every single week. So that's why it hit me then and didn't hit me right after comps. And because I was so depleted that my body stayed lean for a while after, to be honest. So that's my only advice for that question, is get yourself a coach who knows what they're talking about, and then you shouldn't be left unaware of what to expect on the day. Mind you, there's obviously going to be little factors that you cannot comprehend, that you cannot control, because that's just life in general. You don't know how that's going to pan out. Anything in particular for the day? No, there's nothing I wish I knew because my coach had me prepared. All right, the next question is, what keeps me on track 100% of the time? Or what did I do to develop that? Honestly, I don't know. I've always been a competitive person, and not against others, against myself. So to stay on track 100% of the time, I had my goal in sight every single time. It sounds cliche, but heck, it is true. So every time I struggled, every time I thought I needed to binge, and that's just natural. If you've never been, I had such a big goal to get to. I prepped for 10 months. And that's not, I was with my coach for about 7 of those maybe. I actually cut beforehand to go to on a holiday. So I was actually quite lean before I started comp prep. So in terms of keeping on track, I knew that my big goal was to get to the stage, and I am very tough on myself in terms of wanting to do well. It's a competition. If you're stepping into a competition, of course you're going to be hard on yourself, because you put that challenge on you. And if you don't do well, of course you're going to be disappointed. That's just a natural fact of life. That's just what comes with being human, is disappointment. And if you don't do well, and that just should make you strive to do better for next time. However, to stay on track, when I thought I wanted to binge, I would have a nap. And this actually rolls on to another question saying, how did I curb my cravings? So I would try and nap when I could, because if you're asleep, what are you going to do? you're going to get more energy, pretty much. So it's a win-win scenario. I had a lot of soda water when I was allowed to. I wasn't allowed soda water in peak week. I don't suggest it, but this is what I did. Chewing gum. Please don't get into that habit. It is not great for you. It can actually cause bloating and gas, and they say it can cause a laxative effect if you have a lot in one day. To me, it was the complete opposite. TMI, constipation. So I do not suggest that should be a curb your cravings idea. I'm just being completely open and saying that's what I did. Lemon in your soda water, as well as no sugar, just plain mint chewies. That was practically it, other than keeping myself occupied. Really random, I actually watched a lot of TV show series through prep, because if I was sitting there getting really involved into a TV show when I had spare time, didn't make me think of hunger, didn't make me think of anything I might have been down about that day. I honestly just thought about stepping on stage. That moment of stepping on stage, you want to be proud of yourself. You want those judges to look at you and be like, wow, she is dedicated. And that's just honestly my thought pattern. It's just who I am. It's my goal in life is to continue competing, and of course I want to be the best in the world. I mean, that's just who I am as a person, and I'm gonna go for it. And if that means having to visualize that goal every single day to make sure I'm on top of everything, then so be it. That's what I had to do. Going back to that question in terms of how I developed that mindset to keep on track, it's something you can develop. How I'll be honest and say I didn't develop it. Well, not that I remember developing it for prep anyways. It might have been at a younger age. However, to me, it's determination. Determination to do well, and determination to make myself proud. I don't like being disappointed in myself, and I don't like disappointing people. So if I keep myself accountable to a coach, opposing coach, sounds weird, but in this day and age, social media, being open to social media, I now have a whole another group of people I need to keep accountable for, my partner and my family. So if I have all of them on the ride with me, knowing where my end goal is, that means that I have to keep accountable and not disappoint them. Because to me, disappointing someone is the worst feeling in the world. I don't like to waste people's time. So therefore, I'm going to do the very best I can. If it means blood, sweat and tears, that's what's got to happen to make sure that I don't disappoint people and hit my goal at the end of the day. For any guys that happen to be watching this, skip ahead. Or if you want to learn more about periods, you can just keep watching. So periods, how I found that through prep in general, I guess, and my thoughts on it as well. To be honest, I got my period on time every single month throughout prep. Never once did I lose it. Every single time I was meant to get my period was the day of my show. I ended up doing 4 shows, and every single time I was meant to have my period on comp day. And funny fact also, your body reads stress really easily, and it reacts quite quickly to that too. So me being me, wanting to do the best I can in peak week, I would make sure I was precise in every single thing. Weigh my meals out to the gram, posing every single day. I would be hitting my reps, hitting the weight needed for my workouts, just putting in that effort. And so of course stress is going to be put onto my body in that sense as well. In saying that, at the start, it had obviously planned out that every comp day I got my period. However, peak week is obviously the week prior to your comps. Every first day of peak week, I got my period instead. Because it worked out best because I didn't have my period on comp day. It meant like my body was like, oh, you're stressing out, I'm going to give you your period a week early. Whether that was super healthy or not, I'm completely unsure of that. I haven't actually looked into that. However, I know that I naturally got my period still, and it never left, and I still had it for my 7 days, or I think I get it for about 5 days, to be honest, and it would always stop about 3 days prior to comps, because I do a 9-day peak week. So I start on a Thursday, and then coming that Monday is a full peak week, and then that weekend is then usually the comps. So that was lucky in that sense for myself. However, I guess my health was on point throughout all of prep, so that's why I had my period all the time. Now, every woman as an individual is going to have a slightly different cycle, how their body reacts to calorie deficits, how their body reacts to intense training, whether you're new to this, whether you're advanced. In saying that, I have been training for heavily in weights 6 days a week for roughly 5 years, I think. I'd say 5 or 6 maybe. So my body is used to that. I found that some girls choose prep as a way to get into it. So they might not have never trained that hard in their life. You might have, and that's not a bad thing. It's just that that's your first time your body is undergoing a lot of tension in the muscles. Stress over the body may not actually be bad stress, but in terms of how your body reacts to it, it might react a little bit differently, and that can also cause period cycles to slightly change. In terms of, I'm a big one for this, how your coach actually manipulates your diet. This one, I get touchy on this subject purely for the fact of it is your hormonal health. It is talking about your reproductive organs. If you've got a coach that isn't looking out for your health as their number one priority, then sometimes they can actually screw up your reproductive system. Might not be intentionally, but in terms of the overall goal of looking really lean, you can actually disturb your reproductive system in that sense. But they might just go next level to hit that goal and not realize what can actually happen. You might, like in the long run, in terms of not being able to have kids when you're older. Just depends what has happened to your system, how quickly you have become in a calorie deficit, and how, I guess, depleted your body is in terms of what you're actually starving yourself from, because you need proper nutrients to help your overall hormonal and health. So your good fats are there in your diet for great hormonal health and digestion as well. So when people cut out certain things as well, you don't know how that's going to affect you if you haven't actually done it before either. So there are so many different factors in terms of why your period could stop, change in terms of how many days you do get it for, how strong it may be. You might not have ever had, you might always have had heavy periods in your life, and then changing the way you manipulate your diet, you might, it might end up being a little bit lighter and not for as many days. I mean, it's just a huge spectrum where you actually don't know what could happen. And that's why a lot of girls get tests before their comps, and they get tests after their comps to see what has happened within that space of time, whether you do a 12, 16, 20 or 30 week prep, whatever it may be. This is why girls do tests, to make sure that they're on top of it, they know what's happening, and they're keeping their body as healthy as possible, because this sport isn't about pushing your body to its extreme limits unhealthily just to get to a certain physique. It's the health and fitness industry. It's about pushing yourself, yes, challenging yourself, yes, but it should be in a healthy manner, because we want to stay around as long as we can. And for us women, hormonal health is really important. and that's why I preach it. And that's honestly one of the biggest reasons I went with my coach Grace, because that's her number one priority, is looking after our health as women, and as her being a mother of two, she's gone through it herself. She's always adamant about it, and that's what I love about her, and she actually cares for you. Not to say that coaches out there don't care for you, but just get a coach that does put your health as a number one priority. Next question, things that can be cheaper or throughout prep anyways, and things that you can things that you need to spend your money on. This one, actually, it didn't take me by surprise, but it's something I've never actually thought about. When people ask me, I'm looking to compete, what's your advice, and things like that, my number one thing is just be warned about the price. It's not a cheap sport whatsoever. Yes, you can obviously help that as well. So in terms of food, you don't have to buy the best branding of a certain ingredient or whatever. If you need tuna, get your home brand stuff. It's 75 cents or however much it may be. You can get cheaper things. I mean, as long as your food has if it's the same macros and the same calories that what's in your meal plan, that's all that matters. You don't have to buy the best brand or whatever that may be. As long as you're getting those nutrients in, no one cares what price you've paid on your food, to be honest. In terms of posing, this is just what came to my head next. It's a must. You don't skip out on your posing, obviously. That's the main thing you're doing on stage. So you just gotta work with what the coaches are obviously supplying. Group classes are the best. They're always cheaper. It gives you a learning environment to be around a lot of women at once, to know what it's going to feel like on stage as well. If you're really wanting to nail that routine, then you get the one-on-ones, but they can be pricey, but you're working with professionals, and that's something I believe that needs to be a top priority. Obviously, I know that these questions that have been asked are by girls in comp prep. So they've obviously, most of them, I know some people that haven't got a coach before, but that's going to be where most of your money is spent, which is on your coach. And 100% I agree with that, and that would be another main priority, as it keeps you accountable to someone. And I just think it's important to have someone guide you through this time, because mentally, you don't want to do it on your own whatsoever. I wouldn't suggest it. Honestly, if I was single doing comp prep, heck, who knows what. I mean, not in a bad way, but I would be a lost puppy, to be honest. I feel like your support system is going to be a big thing in comp prep. So your coach is going to be your number one cheerleader to help you through. In terms of bikinis, as long as it looks good on you and it looks good on stage, that's all that matters. And you've got to do it for what works with you. Don't put yourself in incredible debt just because you want the high-end bikini, you want that brand of bikini. And I know that sounds stupid coming from me, because I'm one of these people that like to have the best of the best. And I'm not saying don't go get the best of the best. I'm just saying, if it doesn't work for you, if it's going to put you in financial stress and financial debt, don't do it. I know so many girls that have someone in their family is a seamstress, and they made one for them, and it looked absolutely beautiful. You just got to do what works for you. And at the end of the day, if you want to spend that extra money on a gorgeous bikini because it's going to make you feel incredible on stage, you do that. The only other big things I did spend my money on was shoes and hair and makeup and tans. Tans are a must. So yes, get either the sponsored people or find a tanner in, Adelaide, if most of you girls are from Adelaide, or wherever you may be. Find a tanner that does comp tans. Hair and makeup, you can go to anyone as long as it is a standout. That's the only advice I would give. is that people that can do stage makeup. Now, your everyday makeup, if I was to wear, like honestly, I'm wearing a bit of powder and a bit of highlighter and some mascara. If I was to wear this on stage, I wouldn't be a standout whatsoever. However, I got stage makeup from two girls, so Blake Butler Makeup and as well as Monica, who is a sponsored makeup artist by ICN. And so I went with both of those for my comps. It was just incredible. So I definitely recommend finding someone that specifically does stage makeup, as it does the world a difference of how it makes you look on stage as well. Also hair, I mean, I did nothing. I mean, I got someone to do it, but all they did was straighten it and puff it up a little bit and put my center to the side. So it doesn't have to be anything ridiculous. Again, at the end of the day, as long as you feel confident, that's all that matters. All right, the last question I'm going to touch on today. Body dysmorphia, did I have it through prep and how did I deal with it? I'm gonna reel Loz into this question, sorry darling. Me and Lauren prepped together. We both had Grace as a coach, and so this is a really good example. Body dysmorphia in the way that our condition was better than we thought, which is most of the time of what dysmorphia is, body dysmorphia, because you perceive your body as something different to what it's not, to what it is. You get the gist. So me and Lauren went back and forth. Both of us, I'm not singling myself out, both of us, back and forth. Oh my God, I don't feel lean today. Oh my God, I might have drank more and now I'm bloated as shit this morning. Like, we were both back and forth, but we're human. Of course we're going to. And that was the thing, was every time she'd send me her check-in photos and she'd be like, babe, what do you think? Like, I'm feeling good, but I don't think I've made any progress. And I'm like, girl, your obliques are popping. Like, they are ridiculous. And so it's just because you check in every single day, every single week, that you're taking photos every single week. You're weighing in every single, I'd like to say every single week, but some of us do it every single day, which I admit is not healthy, but we do it. We're human, we're curious, we want to know what's happening. Of course, by seeing those photos every single week, it's harder for us to be able to see progress because A, we're our biggest critics, and B, we are striving for a body composition by the end of this. We might not have a body composition in mind, but we know that we want to be lean. It's going to be harder to see that because we are so hard on ourselves. And I did exactly the same. On days where I'm like, oh, and I knew that. So I sent my check-ins to Lauren and obviously my coach. I'm like, look, I don't feel great. Give me your honest feedback. Don't be nice, just be honest. And they always were. They're like, no, you're just freaking out, too hard on yourself, blah, blah, blah. And that's what it is. It's don't be hard on yourself. You're allowed to work hard. You're allowed to challenge yourself and push your body to its limits. Just be realistic and don't focus on the scales too much. I'm someone that focuses on the measurements more than and the photos of how I look more than the scales, because they're always going to change no matter what. If you drank more water prior to going to bed that night before you check in, if you forgot to take a poo that morning that you checked in, if you ate later than usual that night, it's all going to affect the weight at the end of the day and in the next morning when you do check in. So all those things together are going to alter it, so don't be so focused on those scales. So how I dealt with body dysmorphia, I guess just trying to be realistic, listening to my coach and just understanding that, more reading up on body dysmorphia, understanding what it is, understanding why I'm thinking that way, and just being really open and honest with yourself and why you're having these thoughts, why you're so hard on yourself. And at the end of the day, that's going to bring you to the bigger picture and you're like, no, I know what I'm working hard towards, just keep striving. So in saying that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for all your comments and questions, girls. I really do appreciate it. I'm glad that you all confide in me to ask advice, because I'm an open book and I'm happy to help out. So if you'd like to give this video a thumbs up and click the subscribe button, I would really appreciate it, just to try and get the word out there, to get more girls and even guys more involved in bodybuilding, so that they know what to expect when they choose to do so, or if they choose to do so. And yeah, so you'll see me in my next video. I'll be talking different things of aspects of comps, training videos, technique videos, and you name it, I'll film it for you. So thanks, guys.